Nkechi, the maid, started to behave very rudely towards Chioma. She would talk back and even disobey Chioma's instruction. Chioma felt worried about the safety of her children with Nkechi around, and she also noticed that Nkechi was growing too close to Emeka. Once upon a time, there was a happy couple named Chioma and Emeka. They had just gotten married and were excited to start their life together. Both Chioma and Emeka had jobs where they worked hard to earn a living. Chioma worked in an office while Emeka worked at a bank. Every morning, they would wake up before the sun rose, kiss each other goodbye, and head off to work. They would return home late in the night, tired but happy to see each other. Sometimes, Chioma would arrive home first and she would start making dinner for them. Other times, Emeka would be the first one to be back. He would also prepare delicious meal for his beloved wife. One day, Chioma found out that she was going to have a baby. She was overjoyed, but she also knew that it meant she would have to juggle taking care of her home, working, and being pregnant all at the same time. She talked to Emeka about getting a housemaid to help them out, but Emeka said they were fine on their own. He promised to be there for her every step of the way. As Chioma's belly grew bigger and bigger, Emeka helped her with everything. He even went to the store with her to buy baby clothes and toys. They were a team, ready to face anything together. When Chioma went on maternity leave, Emeka took care of her like she was the most precious thing in the world to him. He cooked for her, rubbed her feet, and made sure she had everything that she needed. The day came when Chioma gave birth to a beautiful baby boy. They named him Dozie. They were filled with so much joy and love for their little bundle of joy. As Dozie grew, Chioma had to go back to work. They decided to enroll him in a daycare so that Chioma could focus on her job during the day. Every evening, Chioma would rush to pick up Dozie from the daycare, eager to see his smiling face again. But as time went on, Chioma started to feel overwhelmed. She had no choice than to do all she did. She had so much to do. She had her work, taking care of Dozie, cooking, cleaning, and she felt like she couldn't keep up with everything. She talked to Emeka again about getting a housemaid to help her out, but Emeka refused. He said they didn't need a maid and that he would help her by himself. Chioma knew that Emeka was trying his best, but she also knew that he was busy with work too. She needed more than anything he could give her at the moment. As the days passed, Chioma's frustration grew. She started to give Emeka the cold shoulder, ignoring him and snapping out for no reason. "Why won't you just let us get a maid?" Chioma finally burst out one evening with tears in her eyes. "I don't trust them," Emeka replied firmly, I don't want a stranger in our home, especially not around our son, Dozie. Chioma sighed. She understood Emeka's concerns, but she also knew that she needed help. She just didn't know what to do. Chioma's anger towards Emeka grew stronger with each passing day. She stopped talking to him like she used to, and their once happy home became filled with tension. One day, something unexpected happened. Emeka told Chioma that he was finally ready to bring a housemaid. Chioma's face lit up with joy and excitement for the first time in a long while. She smiled brightly. That night, they shared a special intimate moment together, and Chioma became pregnant again. She reminded Emeka to contact the agency for the maid, but to her greatest surprise, Emeka had changed his mind. Instead, he called Chioma one day and suggested that she quit her job to become a full-time housewife. Chioma was furious. She saw it as a threat to her career and everything she had worked so hard for. Nothing will stop me from pursuing my career, not even having children, Chioma said. Emeka remained adamant, and before they knew it, Chioma gave birth to their second child, a baby girl. The workload at home only increased, and Chioma's resentment towards Emeka grew deeper. He's so selfish, Chioma thought to herself, asking me to give up my dreams just to take care of the house and children. I can't do that, Chioma blurted out. Emeka and Chioma began to live like strangers in their own home, barely speaking to each other. Chioma knew she couldn't continue like this, so she made a decision. When their baby girl turned 3 months old, instead of enrolling her in daycare like she did with their son, Chioma hired a maid from an agency without Emeka's permission. That evening, when Emeka returned home from work, he was surprised to see a young lady named Nkechi waiting for him. She introduced herself to him as the new maid employed by Chioma. Why did you hire a maid without consulting me? Emeka asked Chioma, feeling frustrated. But Chioma ignored him, refusing to engage in the conversation. Their home was filled with tension once again, and Emeka couldn't help but feel like he was losing his wife more and more each day. Nkechi was a young girl in her early 20s with a heart as kind as she can be. She was always respectful and eager to help Chioma with the kids and the house chores. Chioma felt a sense of relief having Nkechi around, and as time passed, she began to trust her more and more. But as Chioma and Emeka grew more distant, their home became filled with misunderstandings. They hardly spoke to each other, and their once strong bond seemed to be slipping away by the day. Their intimacy suffered very much, with Chioma often refusing Emeka's advances at night. Nkechi couldn't help but notice the growing tension between her oga and madam. However, She felt powerless to do anything about it. Her job was to take care of the house, and that was what she focused on. One night, things reached a boiling point when Chioma and Emeka had a very heated argument. Chioma asked Emeka to leave the bedroom, and he spent the night on the couch in the living room. The next morning, he overslept and missed work. When Chioma left for work, Nkechi took the kids to school and returned home to find Emeka still there. She couldn't help but notice the way he looked at her, and she began to think that he might be interested in her. Intrigued by that, Nkechi decided to test her thoughts. She changed into a revealing clothes and walked around the house, intentionally catching Emeka's eyes. To her delight, it worked, and Emeka couldn't take his eyes off her. As time passed, Nkechi began to offer Emeka special treatment whenever Chioma wasn't around. She cooked him delicious meals and offered massages, which he eventually accepted. One day, things escalated between them, and they shared a moment of indiscretion. Nkechi was excited by the attention, and Emeka felt a rush of excitement he hadn't felt in a long time. Meanwhile, Chioma began to notice changes in Nkechi's behavior. She slept more often, neglected her chores, and seemed distant. Chioma wondered what was going on, but just couldn't put her finger on it. Emeka started to steal time away from work just to be with Nkechi. He showered her with gifts and attention. Nkechi reveled in the newfound affection, and Chioma couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss in her home. Nkechi, the maid, started to behave very rudely towards Chioma. She would talk back and even disobey Chioma's instruction. Chioma felt worried about the safety of her children with Nkechi around, and she also noticed that Nkechi was growing too close to Emeka. One day, Emeka decided to stay home from work, and Nkechi was thrilled because she knew she would have Emeka all to herself. While Chioma was out, Nkechi and Emeka found themselves in different compromising positions, and Chioma walked in on them. She was heartbroken and ran back to her car to cry. Inside the house, Nkechi dropped a bombshell on Emeka. She told him she was pregnant with his child and demanded equal rights in the house, refusing to be just a maid anymore. Emeka was shocked and confused. That night, Chioma didn't say a word when she got home. She took care of her kids silently, feeling broken inside. When Nkechi confronted her about the pregnancy, Chioma couldn't believe it. The next day, Chioma reported Nkechi to the agency she had hired her from and left the house with her children. Emeka chose to stay with Nkechi, believing she would take care of him like Chioma never did. Months passed, and Emeka and Chioma stayed apart. Emeka enjoyed his time with Nkechi, while Chioma focused on taking care of her children. One beautiful afternoon, Emeka came home unexpectedly. He came to pick some documents he had forgotten before leaving for work. Then he had moans coming from a room. He discovered Nkechi in bed with another man in his home. Emeka was furious and called the police. Nkechi, pleading, confessed that everything was a plot to make money off Emeka, and the child she was carrying wasn't his. Emeka regretted his actions and tried to reach Chioma, but she had resigned from her job and moved away. With the help of Chioma's friend, Sarah, Emeka found Chioma and apologized for his grave mistakes. Chioma, looking at him, couldn't feel anything other than love she had first felt for him. She apologized for bringing in a maid without Emeka's consent. They both decided to seek marriage counseling and moved to a new apartment together. Emeka promised Chioma never to hurt her again, and he thanked Sarah for her support. They settled into their new home, ready to start afresh as a family. Chioma was still hurting, but she knew with time she would trust her husband again. The children were happy to have their parents back together again. Emeka and Chioma worked hard to rebuild their relationship, learning to trust and communicate with each other. They realized that forgiveness and love were the keys to a happy marriage, and they were determined to make it work. This story teaches us that it is important to have proper communication, trust, and fidelity in marriage. Chioma and Emeka's relationship suffers due to lack of communication and Emeka's infidelity with their maid Nkechi. The consequences of Emeka's action led to heartbreak and betrayal. Both Chioma and Emeka took responsibility for their mistakes. Through forgiveness and reconciliation, they learned to rebuild their relationship and prioritize their family's well-being. The story emphasizes the significance of honesty, forgiveness, and love in overcoming challenges and strengthening marital bonds. Thanks for watching this captivating story on African stories and folktales. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more stories. Thank you.